So you're on a cloud transformation journey and you're trying to justify top reasons why you would move to the cloud. So tune into this second part of my 3-part series on cloud transformation. Hi, my name is Stephen Joseph and I'm the president and founder of EvoStream Communications. As a full-service IT solutions provider, many of our customers are looking towards cloud transformation. And when we advise them, we look at the top reasons customers are going to want to take advantage of the cloud. So in this conversation, we're going to focus on the top reasons customers want to move to the cloud. Okay, so the number one reason most customers want to move to the cloud is to reduce the requirement for infrastructure-based services. Now, that means capital expenditures. So that means customers that are buying equipment every 3 to 5 years and storing that equipment and hosting it, whether it's in an on-site data center or an off-site data center, are really looking to reduce their dependence on physical infrastructure. So that brings us to the second reason why customers are also being pushed towards the cloud. And that's supply chain and logistical challenges with an infrastructure-based model. So specifically with microchip shortages and the delays that customers are experiencing receiving their equipment, it's really challenging to grow as an organization or even operate generally when you have to wait 6 to 9 months for a server to arrive. So I would say the second reason why customers are really looking towards the cloud is out of frustration for supply chain delays and logistical challenges with the infrastructure-based model. A third reason why customers are really looking towards the cloud is cost savings, right? So, instead of having to buy equipment every 3 to 5 years and make those huge capital expenditures, the cloud-based model is more of a utility or consumption-based service model. So instead of budgeting for equipment, you're basically creating an operational model where you're subscribing to services. Now, with costs, we'll get into in other videos ways to optimize those cost structures because customers get into a lot of trouble with the cloud. That could be considered one of the cons of getting into the cloud is moving to the cloud too quickly, not properly refactoring or designing your applications to function well in the cloud and not creating the automations that will create the efficiencies. But again, that's sort of for a more in-depth conversation around cost and efficiency in cloud models. The next reason I would say, customers are moving to the cloud is scalability, elasticity. So when we talk about elasticity, we often talk about growth. But in some cases, elasticity will also mean you can do seasonal changes. You can reduce your overall consumption and footprint in a much more dynamic way. So when we look at elasticity, I think the cloud, because it's a consumption-based model, gives customers the flexibility to bring on services as they require, especially if you're doing development work, but also to turn down services when they're not being fully utilized. So the cloud takes advantage of economies of scale, whereas you have multiple clients using similar resources. And by doing that, essentially the service provider is maximizing those resources across, a distributed number of customers. And you as a customer are going to be able to take advantage of that by only paying for what you really need. Instead of buying a server and using 30% of the capacity on it, you're really going to be maximizing your subscription and usage and only paying for what you need in a properly designed cloud model. Okay, so another reason customers are moving to the cloud is performance. Networks are changing, and the way that customers not only purchase and procure applications, but also utilize applications has changed. So customers are designing their networks to be more cloud-centric, and in doing so, distributing applications is becoming easier. Now, it does add a complexity around security that needs to be changed. So customers are now using applications and distributing them in ways they haven't before. What I mean by that, for example, is look at the COVID pandemic, right? Everyone rapidly had to figure out models where customers could work from home. And instead of being on your core network, you may be using a home internet connection or, maybe even your cell phone in some cases. And, customers that weren't prepared to distribute their applications, in cloud-based models were really caught off guard, and ultimately application performance could suffer if you're using, say, a traditional VPN and your network wasn't prepared for that. So the cloud really gives customers the ability to distribute their applications in a whole new way, and ultimately performance can be greatly enhanced. Some other performance-based qualities are ultimately reliability and disaster recovery can be achieved very easily because the cloud, not only does it scale well, but it can be diversified geographically and you can create multi-clouds. So I think DR is much more attainable for most clients in a cloud-based model. And that all ties into performance ultimately and reliability. Okay, so I think the final point that we should touch on, and probably the most important reason that customers are looking to the cloud, is the long-term strategy to achieve digital transformation. Now, we talked a little bit about digital transformation in our first episode, but just to reiterate, digital transformation means that you're truly taking advantage of all the microservices that are available in the cloud. For example, if a customer wants to change or roll out their products and services in a totally new way, taking advantage of cloud analytics is an amazing way to do that. If customers want to change their business processes and leverage, say, data science platforms, the ability to automate in the cloud is significantly enhanced. So with this, customers are looking to take advantage of what are called microservices in the cloud. I think one of the greatest reasons customers are ultimately trying to move to the cloud is not only to make the physical migration, but ultimately to enable their business to transform more rapidly and take advantage of cutting-edge services and technologies that otherwise wouldn't be attainable for them. So to recap, the top reasons customers are moving to the cloud is, number one, reduce their dependence on equipment and hardware. Number two, I think we talked about elasticity and scalability with the cloud. Number three, we talked about cost structure. Number four, we talked about improving performance and reliability, including disaster recovery. And finally, we talked about digital transformation. So hopefully this was helpful for any customers that are looking to move to the cloud, or for salespeople that are trying to help their clients get to the cloud. I always keep my contact information in my LinkedIn profile. So again, please feel free to contact me directly, or you can like, share, or comment right in the post. Thanks again for tuning in. Our next video is going to focus on the ways you move to the cloud. What are the techniques that we use when we migrate a customer from an infrastructure-based environment into a cloud platform? So tune in for that next important video. Thanks again, and have a great day.